what I want to talk about today is the legality of drugs in the United States. I think through a libertarian's perspective, I believe that it's ridiculous that all drugs are illegal. I think, on the contrary, I think all drugs should be legal, whether it be marijuana, cocaine, heroin, crack, you name it. The use of drugs should actually be on the individual responsibility and not on the government. The war on drugs has been absolutely ridiculous and has been a complete failure since it was implemented in the 80s. You know, what's worse about it is that right now we're inundated by prescription drugs on commercials. We give the pharmaceutical companies immense power or infinite power in order to impose all these new drugs for diseases and conditions that we never even heard of. Wherever you hear on the commercials, it's absolutely ridiculous because the side effects are worse than the symptoms that you're trying to cure. It's absolutely stupid. Yet at the same time, we allow them to do it and gain a profit off of it, while at the same time we can't even smoke a goddamn joint in the middle of our rooms in the privacy of our own homes. You know, I mean, the drug laws are absolutely completely biased and racist in the first place. The only reason why, for example, marijuana is illegal is because they were associated with Mexicans in the 1930s. In the 1930s, they believed that Mexicans were insane or crazy because they smoked marijuana, so therefore smoking marijuana caused insanity, when that isn't actually true at all, obviously. Furthermore, Harry Angliser got some additional help from William Randolph Hearst, the owner of a huge chain newspaper. What he wanted to do is that he wanted to protect his timber company. He had invested heavily in the timber industry to support his newspaper chain, and he didn't want the development of hemp to be any competition, when obviously marijuana has nothing to do with hemp in the first place. Second off, it's completely ridiculous because we all know that there's larger use and possession of crack cocaine than there is to cocaine amongst blacks and whites. Blacks predominantly use crack because they're in the poor, lower class typically, and the whites usually, and white Americans typically use more cocaine when they do either of the drugs. This is absolutely ridiculous because the sentence for possession of crack is about 4 years, and the sentence could be about 1.25 or about 1.25 to 1.5 times longer than possession of cocaine, when crack is actually just a combination of cocaine and baking soda. So, you know, it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's obviously proven to be racist. Furthermore, only 14% of the black population uses illicit drugs, yet 37% of all prisoners that are, 30% of individuals that are in prison are black Americans. It's completely racist, and there's no more to say about it. You know, and furthermore, if you don't use drugs right now, just because it becomes legal tomorrow, you probably won't use it. Just because the government tells you something is bad for you, that's not the reason why you're not doing it. You're not shooting heroin right now or smoking meth because you know it's awful for you and because you know you'll probably die from it. But the biggest thing is that no matter what, the human race and human beings will always want to be getting high. It's a fact. I mean, people will always find a way to get high, whether they be mushrooms, natural substances through cocoa leaves, marijuana, mushrooms, or they're doing chemicals like ecstasy, acid, or methamphetamine. I mean, that's another thing. People will always find ways to, be creative on how to get high. Whether it be doing methamphetamine or this new drug called crocodile. I'll put up a link for you guys to see this new drug called crocodile, which is actually taking its place in Russia. And in short, there's so many chemicals that it melts off your, it makes your skin melt off of you. So anyways, that's my rant on illegal drugs and the legality of drugs. I think you guys really need to look into it and see how biased the war on drugs is, and the laws as well. So really look into it and let me know what you think.